welcome to Surviving ISO. I'm Sacha King from 2.two.one Mental Health Charity, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about how to create your environment or your household or those four walls that you're trapped in a little bit more fun, and maybe try and look at some of those routines and how we could do them in different ways. We're really lucky to have Amanda Cross join us. She is a drama therapist and a movement therapist, and she runs a private practice called Playing with Spirit, Dramatherapy and Expressive programs. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me in my unicorn headband today.
Awesome. I think it's setting the scene already. So my first question is, can you tell us a little bit about drama therapy, and also would you mind sharing how you became interested in drama therapy?
Yep, that's the magic question. So I get asked a lot, what is drama therapy? So I guess I'll start with a bit about drama therapy and then perhaps how I got into it. So what it isn't is drama therapy isn't about teaching or learning drama or performing or anything like that, which is the common misconception. It's actually a form of psychotherapy and a type of creative arts therapy. So it sits under the umbrella of what's known as the arts therapy. So there's music therapy, art therapy, dance therapy, and drama therapy. So in drama therapy, what we're doing is we're opening up a play space. So children, teenagers, adults have an invitation to play, and we explore all of the elements of drama. So that's play, dressing up, movement, storytelling, voice, ritual games, all of those creative tools as the therapeutic process. And so I came across drama therapy and did a master's degree in the UK, in London. So worked a bit over there, worked a bit in Sydney, have since worked in Darwin, and I love my job. And I guess to give you a bit of a snapshot of what it looks like if I'm working with children or young people. So one of the reasons that children come along to drama therapy, it's quite a common referral reason, is around emotional regulation, which is probably quite relevant right now with COVID-19 as well. So around, coping and managing with big feelings. So we'll use the art form, we'll use symbol and story and metaphor and all of these creative tools to help explore those needs around emotional regulation. So I find it's useful to give an example, otherwise people are like, what is drama therapy? So we might create a story about a volcano, we'll step into that world, we'll explore, what's in the world of the volcano, we might embody the volcano, we might explore what it's like when it explodes, we might see who's around the volcano and how they're affected by the volcano when it explodes. We might, interview those people. We might even interview the volcano and say, what's it like for you? What's going on for you? And then the golden question that I like to ask children is, what do you think the volcano needs to calm and feel safe? So in terms of communication, it's really giving children, teenagers and adults alternative ways of communicating what's going on for them. So it's providing a language. So for children, they might not be able to talk about feelings and issues. Teenagers may not be willing to talk about feelings and issues. So it's a very accessible form of therapy in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's great. And it is really helpful to have an example of something that you might use. I guess that sort of leads on to the next point that I had for you, was that communication and drama sometimes seem like opposite things, So I was wondering, is that, especially in a time where everyone's a bit stressed and uptight because of all the stresses around us, how does drama therapy work as a communication tool, possibly in a household?
So I think, drama therapy draws on play as a child's natural language, and drama really is play. There is really no definition that separates play and drama. So we're using play to connect as the great connector. So we're using play to help children and teenagers connect with themselves and get to know themselves, and also to connect with other people and explore their relationships with other people. So at home, in terms of stress and difficult situations going on, play and creative tools can be really great ways to help children recognise how they're feeling and what's going on for them, and also to connect with other people. So it's really helping children externalise what's going on in their world so they can see it. So something that I often recommend to children and families is having a creative art journal. So I might say to the child, go with mum, go to the shops, choose a special book that you'd like to have for your art journal, decorate it, whether it's a big book or a small book, decorate it, put stickers on it, colour it, all of these sorts of things, and then create a ritual around using that art journal to express yourself and how you're feeling. So some children might want to draw, use crayons, write stories, paint, stick things in, collage, that sort of thing, and then putting it somewhere safe at home that's just for them, that's private. And if they'd like to, they can share with mum and or dad, what's going on for them. So I think there's a lot of great things in drama therapy that are very applicable in other settings and very much needed.
Yeah, I think that's a great example of that sort of creative journal, and I think something that, maybe not putting stickers on it, but maybe that adults could also take on board is having a creative way of expressing themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is there any other examples you could think that also adults could use in using, expression or creative ways or drama therapy in the household?
One of the great things about drama therapy is it really helps people connect with their body and their imagination. So I think right now when people are feeling quite stressed, potentially with lots going on and lots of changes, I think it's really important for children and for adults to have a space for physical expression. So to release stress that might be held in their body. And when we move our bodies, we also move our minds. So, it's about what works for the individual. So for me, it's dancing. I love dancing and dressing up, clearly. So, that's how I release my stress. That's part of my self-care. For other people, it might be running, it might be walking the dog, it might be swimming, it might be drumming, whatever works for you. And through that process, we're also connecting with our breath, which is really important too, just to stabilize, ground, open up the space for reflection. I think it's really healthy for adults around children to model to children that they are in touch with their own feelings and to communicate feelings. So in drama therapy, at the beginning and end of sessions, I'll have a ritual, and in that ritual, I'm saying to children, how are you feeling? How's your day? How was your week? What's the colour of your day? What's the sound of your day? And we'll use creative tools to help them check in with themselves and identify, how they're feeling. And all of those creative tools can be used at home with parents and children. So sometimes I recommend what's called a feelings wheel, and you can put it on the fridge. So it's just a circle divided into sections with one feeling for each section, and children can create their own feelings wheel and identify their own feelings. So they might use magazine collage or stickers or their own drawings, and they can create names for their own feelings. So for a child that has emotional regulation issues, one feeling might be volcano. So put that on the fridge, and mum and dad might want to make their own feelings wheel as well, and check in through the day and use the arrow to point, where are you at now? How are you feeling? Or mum's feeling exhausted and the child's feeling like a volcano. Okay. And then it might be, I wonder what we can do to help us feel okay. So what does the child that's having the volcano feeling need? Do you need some quiet and some time away from other people to go into your cubby or makeshift den that you have at home and do some drawing in your art journal? What does mum need if she's feeling tired? Maybe mum needs, to be wrapped in a large blanket and have a lie down. So you can bring humour into it as well. But I think it's often about modelling to children that we all have a range of feelings and that all of them are okay. We just need to find healthy ways to express them. So if a child's having the volcano feeling, that's okay. It's okay to feel like a volcano, but it's not okay to, hurt ourselves or hurt other people or hurt what's around us. But we can express it through drawing an art journal or drumming or dancing or singing or, whatever these, or doing a puppet show, whatever creative tools might be accessible at home.
Yeah, and I really like the idea of that you can just create your own names for emotions. I think we're a bit scared to do that, but it's taking away some of that. I've got bad emotions or negative emotions, which is we just made that up. Yeah.
I like to invite children to have their own language for emotions because it's a lot more meaningful. So if you get a template that says, happy, sad, angry, the child's not going to be invested in that. It's not going to have any meaning for them. But if you invite them into that process and help them come up with their own feelings, and same for parents. Parents might have the language for their own feelings as well. I think there's a lot that you can learn about that feeling as well through the language that's being used. So if it's a volcano feeling, that's obviously a very big and difficult feeling. It's not just feeling a bit annoyed. It's, at the point of explosion. And look, it's creative, it's fun. I think sometimes with therapy and, all these tools looking at feelings, it can be very serious and, it's hard work, and it doesn't have to be. It can be lots of fun.
Yeah, I guess that really leads on to my next question about creating fun in, a household where we have to get all these tasks and chores and manage people. How can we kind of bring some fun into those everyday things?
Yeah, well, it's funny because chores and household tasks, while on the surface may look a bit boring and not very helpful, if you shift the lens and look at them in a different way, they are actually quite helpful. So, in Dramatherapy, we have lots of routines and rituals in sessions that help children feel safe, and they promote consistency and security through repetition. And really, household chores and routines also can provide that. So I think looking at it from that point of view, particularly with lots of change going on at the moment for children, that could be something quite helpful, repetition of routines and chores. And the other thing that I find with kids is that often kids, when they're doing something, they'll talk about what's going on for them. So parents often say to me, oh, we had a great chat in the car and they told me everything that was going on. But if that parent sat down to talk to them at a designated time to talk about things, they wouldn't necessarily open up. So it's an opportunity to connect as well. But, I think fun is a great thing. So there's always opportunities for fun. In Dramatherapy, to help with my rituals and routines, I often sing a goodbye song, which I'll just make up in the moment with the children, and it's to help them sort of say goodbye to all the characters and all the creative materials and things that they've used in the session. And at home, that could be replicated too. It might be inviting children to choose a song that they would like to listen to as the packing away song, and they have to pack away all the toys before the song finishes. But yeah, I don't think routines and rituals are a bad thing. I think there's a lot of therapeutic potential in them, and it may be around shifting the lens about their function during this particular period of time.
Yeah, I think that's a really new perspective. I've had a lot of people come and say, change the way you do the task and make it more fun. But I like the idea of saying, it's just a task that's a part of my day, and I start my day like this and I end my day like that. So
yeah, and also the grounding aspect of it. I mean, hands in the sink washing dishes, that can be very grounding and calming, or pushing the wheelbarrow, or raking the leaves, or hands in the dirt in the garden doing gardening. That's very grounding for children and really great for self-regulation too. So I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, you can see these everyday things. Now we're starting to think about them, how there's so many different perspectives of what we can take away from them. So I've also heard, especially families with young kids who have had their kids home now for a couple of weeks, have been saying they're feeling exhausted because they're trying to create all of these different activities, and they're trying to really engage with their kids, and they're doing everything, kind of going above and beyond. Is there a way that we can do more fun, expressive things that aren't so sort of taxing on the parent guiding it?
So I can relate to that in terms of, having these great ideas and making these, what I consider brilliant session plans that I want to take into work with a child or work with a group. And that's all well and good, but I always put it to one side because I'm child-led. So I always work with what's in the room, what's in the space at the time, and I follow their lead. I follow the themes that come up through the play within the moment. And I guess at home, it's important to acknowledge that as well, and that children have amazing creative ideas. They are the artists. They just need the opportunity, the environment to express those ideas. And they love choices as well. So when, children come into the dramatherapy space, part of that playful experience for them is being able to have a choice about what they would like to explore today. So, is it dressing up? Are we working with puppets? Are we, exploring a story through musical instruments? What would you like to do today? So I think definitely creating a space at home is helpful for children. So, that might be a messy corner, a creative corner, a play corner, with some choices available to them, with some Lego or with some plasticine or Play-Doh or whatever's there, and letting them get to it. So, and taking the pressure off yourself. So it might be, just sitting with them and asking them curious questions. If they're making something with the Play-Doh, sort of saying, I wonder what the character is that you're making there, or I wonder where they're going, or I wonder how they're feeling. It might be joining in the play, it might be creating a Lego world together and letting them, lead what that world looks like, and you're just supporting them in creating that world. So lots of curious questions, lots of I wonder questions. If they're making a Lego world, I wonder who lives in the castle, I wonder who's there. But also just being a witness, being an audience member. So, sometimes I recommend to families to invite children to, do a little puppet show or a little story with their toys while mum's having a cup of tea or while mum's making dinner. Because children really do have all the answers, and we really don't need to do much. It's just about being present, witnessing, listening, taking an interest, and just providing opportunity. So lots of structure and lots of ideas and things really aren't necessary. It's just more about the environment and the choice.
Yeah, and I really like that sort of like setting a task, but you don't have to be a part of the task, a puppet show, writing a song or making a music something, or just creating something together, whether you're a part of that or not a part of that.
Yes. And I, in the drama therapy space, when I'm particularly working with groups, sometimes I have children that want to take on an observer role. So they want to be they want to be in a role within a scene where they're observing. So they might be, a photographer coming to take pictures of the characters in the scene or something like that. And that role is an active role. So even if parents are an audience member or they're an observer, they are still an active part of that play. So I think it's not less than, it's good enough. It's great if parents are a part of that process and taking an interest in what's going on, and being an audience. Kids love an audience.
Yeah, I think we know that young people are really creative and have great imagination, and sometimes that gets a bit suppressed as an adult. Is there something that an adult could start doing to start to use some of their imagination so they can get some of the effects of being creative?
Yeah, I think working with adults has been really joyful for me when I've worked with adults at different times, including older people and elders. Because I think as we get older, we lose that sense of permission to play, we lose touch with our own playfulness, and there can be a lot of judgment around, you know, what that means, if that's being silly or that's not okay. And so when they come into the drama therapy space and you see that magic of that sense of permission to play, it's very joyful, and it's very joyful to watch as well. So I think it's really about creating space to develop a relationship with your own playfulness, whatever that might be. So that might be looking into the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, you are marvelous, you are magnificent, and my gosh, you are playful, and putting some of that playfulness into your pocket and carrying that into your day. You know, it might be taking a different route on your way home from work. That's a change. It might be putting a bit of a skip into your step. It might be singing in the car and really going for it, you know, putting the windows up and really doing an operatic number in the car. It might be, you know, stealing your child's Play-Doh and sitting in front of the TV and just exploring using the Play-Doh just as a soothing tool, or exploring creating different shapes. It might be photography, taking some images. It might be writing. There's so many different ways, but I think it's just about giving yourself permission. I think once people have that sense of permission that play is valuable and they are valuable, then I find that things just start to flow for people, and they already know what it is they're interested in doing.
Yeah, I think I can definitely reflect for myself is that when I do let myself be in the moment and be really playful and, you know, sing really badly or, you know, do a little dance or something, is that it's a different joy that you feel, or like a freedom that you feel, because it's something that we don't use as much anymore as adults. And sometimes we do need to give ourselves permission to be silly.
Yeah, and silly is gold. Silly is really important, and joy is really important too. And that's actually something I'm really enjoying right now in the COVID-19 situation, is there's so much playfulness coming out through this situation with, you know, people singing and dancing and putting things on social media and connecting, sort of the loss and the change that's affecting people, that something new's being born out of that. So yeah, it is quite interesting. But yeah, putting on your playful hat, taking off your adult hat, putting on your playful hat, what does that look like? Or packing a bit of playfulness in your pocket and pulling it out when you need to during the day. For me, it's dressing up. So it's one of the good things about being a drama therapist.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it might be like the perfect time to challenge people to find some sort of creative expression for themselves, whatever works for them. But we're in our safe spaces, we're in our homes, we've got time to ourselves, and we're trying new things already. Yeah, and sort of monitoring a little bit of our own self-talk. I've noticed, you know, in my own journey when I was training to be a drama therapist, you know, what my own sort of views were about my creativity and my potential, and then going to work with teachers and parents and carers and people around children and what they say about their own creativity. Things like, I can't draw, or I don't have any ideas, or I can't sing, or I can't, you know, I'm not creative. It's very damaging actually, and it's also modelling to children that they can't do it either. So I think, reflecting on your own relationship and the barriers that you have to your creativity and playfulness is important as well. At some point, we all go through that. I don't know where it happens, whether it's school, you know, the teacher says the tree should be green, not fluorescent, but we've got to stop that. Because we're all creative, playful beings, every single one of us. That's what I believe anyway. Yeah, I think so. I always have this theory of like, you know, people can't feel like they can't do something because they were told they weren't good at it, or they believed they weren't good at it from a younger years, so they never practice it. That's why you're not good at it, because you didn't practice it, not because you can't do it.
Yeah, and it's also the being good. I mean, what does that even mean as well? What is the measure of good? Because I think creativity really explodes all of those conceptions of what's good and what's bad, and it just is, and it makes no apologies.
Yeah, well, I think this is the challenge for everyone, I feel like, right now. Yeah. I would like to know is, like, people who are struggling right now, they're really just not doing very well, they're not really seeing things positively. Is there some aspects we can use of drama therapy that are just going to help people with, you know, a better mindset or a bit of positivity or a better functioning day to day?
I would go back to externalizing what's going on for you. So I think we can all get very stuck in our heads and sort of stuck on one way of looking at things, and we can also get a bit stuck in our bodies, being at home, in the house and whatever. So definitely moving's important. Move the body, release the stress that's coming through the body, breathe, and when our body's relaxed and we're starting to relax, then things start to open up a little bit more, and finding ways to reflect on what's going on for you through external tools. So again, that might be through songwriting, it might be through dancing, it might be through music, it might be through drawing, whatever those tools are for you. Because I think often in drama therapy, what's happening is the child will express their story, and I witness their story, or I'm a part of that story, and I feed back to them what I've noticed about that story. And so at home with adults, if they can witness their own story or witness their own feelings and get that feedback off the page of, oh, that's actually how I'm feeling today, or that's actually what's going on for me, that's where things can start to shift, because you're acknowledging what's going on for you in the moment. Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
I think that's a huge thing right now, is just sort of acknowledging where you're at, and where you're at is okay.
And so, yeah, I think we need to be choosing things at the moment that fill up our bucket and make us feel good about ourselves, and help fill up other people's buckets as well, and not put too many expectations on ourselves, because playfulness also does not like expectations. Playfulness just likes to be, and, you know, have freedom. Expectations just kill spontaneity and playfulness. So being kind, always important.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely thinking of a few things right now that I can implement that will be really fun to implement, but really reflective for me.
Yes. And the key is the fun for me, because I think if it's fun, that there's something in that that's telling you, this is something that I need. This excites me. I'm going to follow that lead. And there's no reason why all of these self-reflective tools and therapy approaches can't be fun. They don't have to be heavy and serious and, you know, weighted down. They can be fun and moving and playful and joyful.
Yeah, and, you know, that might mean, you know, putting on your unicorn headband each day.
Exactly.
To make yourself feel
I
a
needed
little
to be a unicorn today.
So Amanda, I have a last question for you, and it's a bit of a broad one. I'd love just to know a couple of tips that people could take away with them if they just wanted to use some philosophy of drama therapy to implement a little bit more fun into their household or relationships. What's a couple of takeaways for people?
I would say put on your playful hat, or put a bit of playfulness in your pocket, and just go from there. I think when you develop a relationship with your own playfulness, then you naturally invite other people to be playful with you, and you naturally open up that play space. So shifting the lens, put on your playful hat, put a bit of playfulness in your pocket, see what happens. Magic.
Such a beautiful place to end this interview. So I think everyone after this should feel quite motivated just to have a play, give it a go, explore what they need and how to add some fun into their lives. So thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.